Hello, thank you very much for joining us in this 2023 session around memory making, navigating significant dates, and keeping that connection with your baby within your family. I'm joined today by two parent voices, two lovely mums, and by Dr. Ottilia Brown. I'm going to let each of them just introduce themselves and just tell me a little bit about what Baby Loss Awareness Week means to them, and then we can delve a little bit deeper into some of the memory making and practices that you have within your family and your experience. So I'm going to start with you, Dr. Ottilia.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's really a privilege to be here. I am the facilitator of the Little Lifetimes group, and I also often work with women who have experienced miscarriage, stillbirth, and infant loss. And I cannot emphasize enough how important this week is. There's still so much misunderstanding around the grief and loss for parents who have experienced this type of loss. There's still so many misperceptions, misconceptions. So I know this type of awareness creation is sorely needed, and I'm really happy to be a part of this process.
Thank you so much. We're really happy to have you here. And for anyone who's joining us and who doesn't know, Little Lifetimes is a monthly support group that's facilitated by Dr. Ottilia at Lighthouse Arabia in conjunction with, or in affiliation with, Love Through Loss. If you want more information, please do reach out and we can direct you to the right information as well. And joining us, we have two really lovely parent voices, two very special mums within the community, Shalu and Fariha. Fariha, having just spoken recently, I'll come to Shalu first and see how you're doing and what does this mean for you?
Yeah, so my name's Shalu, and I came into the community because I suffered from a stillborn of my daughter this week. So October is always a difficult month. I don't know, it's just the universe tells you sometimes you're feeling a bit down and then you're like, oh yeah, October's coming. So it's coming up to the anniversary, or I like to refer to it as her birthday. And also with the Baby Loss Awareness Week, where it's everywhere. Like, it's on social media, it's just everywhere. And sometimes you just have to, I think we said it before, self-care. You just sometimes have to take a step back. But I think as a parent going through loss, it's not just a week, a month. It's living with it 24/7. Kind of, it is your story, it's your life, it's fitting your life around your loss. But this week, I think, is more for people. It's for people going through it, but for also people around you, friends, family, maybe able to tune in or see things for educational purposes for them. Because, as I say, like, if you don't know, you don't know. Because I remember when I was due my little girl at the end of November, and it was been 2 years ago now, and I saw that this Love Through Loss is on social media. And I was like, oh, it's really sad. And it was before our loss. And then little did I think that I'd be part of the community, let alone talking on a panel, talking to other parents about it. So I think it's just a really important, especially this Love Through Loss, like, community event for people here in the UAE who are away from home, away from their family, and trying to navigate through this, through the months, the days, the hours, the months, the years.
I think, you know, absolutely. And you said it so beautifully there that the awareness side is not for parents. Parents need no awareness drawn to their grief. They live with it 24/7. But it is a chance perhaps for those who haven't heard of Love Through Loss, or don't know what support's out here, or don't know about Little Lifetimes, and have no community, and through what can be such a deeply isolating experience as well. And as you say, for the wider community to recognize and to seriously up their game in terms of support and recognition. I think that's something that I know, you know, Dr. Ottilia and I have spoken about in the past, is there's such a desire to help improve options and support that's available for families. Fariha, I'll just come to you. I know you've shared so much already within today, and I'm so grateful for you and your voice today. A little bit about what baby loss awareness means to you this year, this first year that you are coming to it as a parent from loss.
So yeah, like Shali said about awareness, the people around us come later. I did not know I would be a part of such a group one day. I didn't even know this group existed. Since my baby was born through IVF, so Cassie from the IVF group, she suggested to get in touch with you, Lala, and since then I've been a part of this group. Yeah, so it's just 3 months to the loss. I don't have much to talk about, but yes, I have been planning a way to how to celebrate, not celebrate, or how to manage my emotions on the awareness day. Like I mentioned, I was traveling, so I made sure I'm carrying his blanket with me. I'm carrying his little toy with me, and yeah, I just want to take some pictures while we're traveling. That he's with us, and probably that will be creating awareness. Posting those pictures on your group or other platforms I'm following for other moms out there.
Do you know what? That's so. Thank you for sharing that. And you know what's so beautiful is that without me asking any quick, like you've segued straight into memory making and carrying your baby, your Zion, with you. And I love that you're taking his blanket and his things on holiday with you, that he is part of your family and of that experience. And I'm gonna start a little bit with Shalu. We've spoken a little bit earlier. If anyone hasn't joined us today within the stillbirth session, both Shalu and Fariha spoke about their experiences, and both had a very different experience of being supported by the hospital in which they gave birth in terms of immediacy, the immediate offering and support of memory making that was available to them. Dr. Tilia, I just want to ask you here. We often get asked, I obviously go in to speak to various hospitals on a regular basis, beating my drum around town about memory making and about ensuring that families have options, no matter what faith, what culture, what background, no matter what, that they have choices that are available to them. Is there evidence, and this is something I'm often asked, is there evidence to support memory making as part of the processing and the grieving process?
Yeah, quite a few studies, Lala, available. They're mostly qualitative in nature because, of course, it's very difficult to get a big sample when there's such a sensitive topic at hand. So most of the evidence we have is qualitative. This means interviews have been done or focus groups have been done, or parents have been asked to complete a questionnaire. So the biggest study I could find is one that included around 162 mothers. And then there's smaller studies of interviews, 12 parents, 6 parents, 18, mostly mothers. And the evidence just keeps coming back that parents find this process of memory making incredibly life-affirming. It's a way of creating evidence for the existence of their child. It's a way of ascribing the infant with personhood. It's a way of them ascribing the meaning of parenthood to themselves. It's a way for them to navigate conversations about their child. So it's been found to be quite helpful. And there's a lot of mothers saying, we need this. The evidence is also saying we need professionals in hospitals to guide us on how to do this. What does it look like? How do we implement this? And that's why I think things like a guideline can be very helpful. So, because of course, in that moment, the parents are overwhelmed. They are in such an emotional state where they cannot think about these processes. They need professional assistance to show them the way. So that also comes up a lot in studies. Yes, this is a very meaningful process. We need this process. It actually helps us later with our grief, our loss. It helps us make meaning. But we also need the professional guidance. And the more of that is present, the more meaningful the process becomes for parents. We've also found that in one of the studies that mothers have actually reported in terms of mental health symptoms, that there were fewer symptoms of, for example, post-traumatic stress disorder for mothers that were able to engage in memory-making practices.
Thank you so much. That's the most incredibly helpful summary, particularly when we go to speak to hospitals. And I hope, you know, one of the reasons that we do the Love Through Loss virtual events is so that this is a resource for professionals, for people to hear from the parent voices, from the mental health community, from the affiliated communities. This is what we need. This is how you can serve us better. And this is what parents are requiring. And there isn't a one size fits all, is there?
Definitely not. So that's why it's so important to have a conversation with the parents and inquire about what their wishes are. And of course, sometimes they don't know in the moment, but then if there is someone there that is trained that can say, well, these are the options, this is how we could go about it, you know, this is the procedures we could follow, these are the types of memory making practices we do have available, the parent then has access to information and then can start making those decisions as parents. So absolutely, yeah,
definitely. And I think that's one of the big things is, you know, we were talking about this earlier with Shalu and Fariha, that you know, especially if you're talking about stillbirth, if you're talking about late stage miscarriage, if whatever experience it is of loss, you may, you know, in those aspects, when it's pregnancy and birth related, you have just been through birth, you know, you are physically exhausted and recovering. There is a point at which you cannot stop sleep from coming, and sleep in and of itself can be a shock and grief response in those initial hours as well. And this is where things like the cuddle cot, the cooled Moses basket that we're the regional representatives for, is just so valuable in giving families time and choice. I'm very mindful that we have two very different stories here, and I'm very mindful of it being triggering to you, Fariha, in terms of lacking in that support. Do you want to tell us a little bit about, I know you weren't offered much support, what perhaps what would have been helpful for you in that moment? Because you've created since some incredible memory making that perhaps you can share with us.
So would you like me to talk about the memories I've made when I reached back home, or should I start with the hospital first?
We want to start with it. We'll start with the hospital and whether anything was mentioned to you at all at that time, and what might have been helpful to you, and then what you have done yourself, and I know including your son as well, which has been really beautiful.
Yeah. So like I've mentioned in the previous two sessions, the hospital wasn't equipped with this kind of an accident or incident. I wasn't given an option initially for the kind of delivery I wanted to. There was no choice. When I met my son, I don't know for what reason, whether it was a protocol by the hospitals in Dubai or is it a procedure, they just seemed to be in a rush to take him to the morgue. And they had no idea about the cuddle cots. Even I didn't, to be honest. I had never heard of a cuddle cot before. I only happened to hear a cuddle cot after I joined your group and other groups that are not in this country. And I even approached my doctor at the hospital that I wanted to donate a cuddle cot in a memory for Zion. And he was surprised that, okay, we are not aware of this as well. Yeah, so coming back to the hospitals offering us to make a choice or giving us any choices or being aware or making us being aware, we had literally zero awareness. I didn't even know what a memory box is or what could have been, from Zion's hair lock to his handprint and footprint, or asking us to get a pair of clothes that we had kept for him to put on him, take pictures with him. Nothing. As I mentioned, I got to hold my baby only for 2 minutes. And the only memories, to be honest, I have of my boy is I just get, I wasn't able to sit up because I had a C-section. So the nurses just unwrapped him from the white cloth and asked me to look at him. And I said, can I at least hold him, and can you place him on my chest? And as he was lying down, he was so perfect and beautiful. The only memories I have made out of those 2 minutes is every tiny detail of his face, his eyelashes, his perfectly small button nose, his little hands. And the moment I touched him with my finger to caress his cheeks, one of the nurses stopped me and she said, "Oh, please don't touch him." And I think this is the only time you get to spend with him, and they just took him away from me. I mean, all I could ask for was just a few hours, and I could take a few pictures with him. That's it.
I'm so sorry that they weren't in a more confident position to support you. As Attilia has attested, there is overwhelming evidence to show that it is beneficial to offer and guide parents through memory making.
I would also like to add, like Dr. Attilia mentioned, the post-traumatic stress or anxiety after you have not had a memory is unexplainable. The guilt I had, or the level of emotional distress I had because I was not able to hold my baby for long. I couldn't get anything that belonged to him on him back home. Took a different kind of a toll on me. And it took me weeks to come out of the fact that I don't have anything that belongs to him.
Tell me about the memory box you have created since with his oldest brother.
So like I mentioned, it was my son's idea. That because right out of the hospital, we didn't even know what a memory box is, or given our religious values, I don't think we are allowed to take a hair lock home or anything from him to take home. So yeah, so we just made this small, my son made this small memory box that he chose to keep his little dolphin toy, his little football that he wanted to be his football mentor when he grows up. So he kept his football. These are the shoes that my son chose for him that I would like him to wear. We kept a little beanie for him that he was supposed to wear he has his first outfit. This was supposed to be his homecoming outfit, football again, that my son chose for his baby brother. Yeah, because they didn't give us any birth certificate. I don't know whether it was too much of me, but I kept the hospital receipt as a birth notification. I kept my last dress that I was wearing while I was pregnant with him as a memory of him being with me in that dress on the last day. I have his blanket that I used to sleep with every day. And I'm carrying it with me to my holiday. And of course, forever, his burial site will be his memory forever till my last breath. If not, I'm not being too dramatic. Yeah, I also wrote a poem for him that I shared on the group. So it was just a part of my therapy where whatever I felt for him, I would write it in a word or I would write it in a line. And then I started to slowly combine those statements or lines or feelings together. And I came up with that poem that I shared on the group. I also made a picture banner from his ultrasound pictures that I had, that I kiss good morning to and good night to every day. And I plan to do that for as long as I can. We visit his burial site every Sunday. It's always emotional. People say time does heal. I'm not as hysterical as I used to be, but visiting his burial site every Sunday just reminds everything. I wish I could just pick him up from there and bring him back home, but yeah, he's not coming home. And I made a little necklace of his name that I wear every day. Yeah, I wish I could do more. There's another thing I want to do is get a teddy bear with his heartbeat in it. But I don't think I'm ready for that right now. When I will, that's something I would like to add to my collection.
You have the most incredible self-awareness to recognize that within yourself at the moment. And what I just find, it's just, I mean, bittersweet isn't the word. There's nothing sufficient to say, but just how dreadfully let down you were and how incredible you have been as a mother to create the memories that you have and the box that you have, and with your son, and that he was the one to guide you in that. It's just, you know, I'll come to Dr. Attilia to speak to it, because I'm at a loss for words, but that we're in a community where an 11-year-old boy is the one who's suggesting that a memory box might be something that would be beneficial to him, to you, to your family, for your healing, for your grief. I have no words when there are so many studies, as Attilia has said, and so many parent voices speaking to the importance of memory making. So Attilia, I'm just going to pass to you, and perhaps, you know, this hospital certainly will not be alone in not being equipped yet with that support system, with that confidence and guidance for families through bereavement and through memory making. What would you say as a mental health professional in this? What needs to happen in this instance?
Maria, I'm really sorry you had such a difficult experience. Firstly, sorry for the loss of your son, but then of course, what happened afterwards has just made it very, very difficult, because we know, again, that it's quite helpful for parents to process the loss when they have that time, or at least the choice of having that time, because not every parent might choose that, but knowing that you have the choice can be quite helpful in just ascribing a very small sense of control in a situation where you feel completely out of control, where your life has just been turned upside down, inside out, and there's a rudderlessness in that moment, usually, or in those moments following. So it's unfortunate that this is how this was handled, and hopefully, you know, through the work that you're doing, Lala, with Love Through Loss, this will shift, because I know you're relentless with trying to get the message out there and explain the importance of these practices. I know you do many other things, but this is one of the things that you're very passionate about, because we can see that now. I'm really pleased for Faria that she's been able to come up with a way to make memories and to find a way to hold close her son, but that might not necessarily evolve for other parents. And, you know, this is where, again, awareness is so important. Education, like what you're doing this week, is so important. So parents can know there are ways in which they can create these memories. It's really, really such an important part of the grieving process. And the moving through, because I don't want to say recovery, it's not something you recover from, but the moving through that grieving process.
Shalu, I'm going to come to you now. I know that you had a different experience in terms of the memory making that was available to you. I think that when you go through that individually, I think there are aspects, and you've spoken a little bit to it earlier, of things that still can be so improved upon in terms of the confidence of people guiding you through that. And within the memory boxes that we have with Love Through Loss, in fact, I can't show you because of the screen, but there are guidelines that have been written up by Lighthouse Arabia, again, to guide and support and give confidence to care providers. And guide them through memory making. So I just want to come to you and talk a little bit about what your experience is, because I'll talk to that in a second, but I'm going to come to you and ask you a little bit about in the immediacy of those early days. What did memory making look like for you?
Yeah, Frida, just beautiful. Like the box is, it's beautiful. Your son sounds like it was moving to hear you talk about it. So my experience was, yeah, so when I woke up and found out that we'd lost our daughter, because I'd had a C-section, I'd woken up, my husband had told me, and the midwife straight away gave us a one of your memory boxes, and in there she'd put a lock of hair. They'd done out a mock little certificate, little hospital tag, footprints, and again, because you're not in that world, you never think you're going to be in this world, you never think you're going to have to travel this path. I was just like, what's this? Why are they giving me a box? What's this for? And so it's just minute after minute, hour after hour, you're processing. So then we got moved and we were settled that evening. I said before that you came to us, and the hospital had said to me, my consultant had said to me, the Kaya can be with you until you get discharged. Again, didn't understand that either. Wasn't functioning at a level to really understand that. So we were put back onto the ward. We were moved to a much quieter ward. And Kaya was actually in a cuddle cot for us on the ward. Initially, out of pure fear, when I look back, that I wish I could say that I just wanted her with me, but I was like, this is so painful. I can't do this. So the hospital said, they were supportive in yourself. You said, like, you can do this in your own time. So then the next day, when we brought her into our room, we had her in the cuddle cot next to us. My husband had come home, got some clothes, and we changed her, we swaddled her, we changed her nappy, we got to keep her with us. You and your team had the photographer beautiful Marina came in, and she took some lovely photos of us all, and beautiful photos of Kaya. And because we had the cuddle cot, it gave enough time for my parents that had flown in from the UK. So it was actually my granddad's 90th birthday the night before. And so we were really conscious of, like, I don't know, now looking back, it seems so weird, but we're like, we don't want to disrupt them at home. So we rang them the next morning, and my parents got the next flight out. But because we had the cuddle cot, they were able to meet their granddaughter. So again, it's all the memories. We decided to bring our son in. He was only 2 at the time. And we have that beautiful memory of him dropping a little cuddly toy into the cuddle cot. And I understand, and from this session, like, not every parent gets those memories. But as Dr. Atelier said as well, like, I do feel like it's helped in our healing process, that we had those 72 hours with her to, like, wake up in the morning and have a cup of tea and have her next to us, or going to sleep, that she was there. I did find out as well that we were the first ones to use it. It was donated by another mum in the community, and we were the first ones to use it. We got the photographs taken, and they did the impression molds of her hands if we wanted them. And I think it just comes down to choice, that if we ever want to look at the photographs, if we want to open the memory box up, and it's got a beautiful smell. It has a beautiful smell as well. If we want to ever open it up, we have the choice. We were given the choice that we can do that, which is just, I think it does help with the healing process.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Shalu. And this is exactly what I was going to say, and is that we are too good at doing things retrospectively, at having somebody go through the heartbreak and not having that support, and then putting that in place. So if there is anyone watching this, if now or in recordings in future, please know that there is a community who are here to help and guide and help you put bereavement support in place. There is, and it makes such a difference to families. And again, Fariha, I know you've just mentioned already that you've had a conversation with your doctor about wanting to get a cuddle cot in there. And that is something that, again, if we can support you with that, please don't hesitate to let us know. We've talked about memory making. I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the significant dates, because Shallow, you mentioned at the beginning about how you like to use the word birthday rather than anniversary. And I think that's really special. And I think for friends, for family, you know, this is really important to be led by parents on it. And I think it's so important. We talked a little bit about, you know, we're going to talk more about friends and family support, but it is so valuable for parents to have those significant dates recognized. Fariha, you are in those early months afterwards. Are there dates that you at this moment anticipate being challenging? Are there firsts that you have already been through or that you are to go through that sit heavier for you?
Yeah, so like I mentioned, he was supposed to be born a week after his delivery date. So I'm sure forever from that day, 18 July, will be sitting very heavily on all three of us. And he was going to share his birthday with his father, and I have no words. What my husband must have gone through or will in the future. I don't think ever his birth is going to be the same. I was just wondering, thinking about November when I was Zayhan's, we transferred him, and then we had our positive blood test. So the 12th of November and 20th November will be one of those dates as well. Ironically, my birthday is also falls in the month of the pregnancy awareness, which is in another 10 days, which is the 25th of October, which would have been his matching date with his father. So I think the number 25 is forever going to be very heavy on us. It's just so ironic. Me and my husband's wedding anniversary is also on the 25th. So I think it's never going to be the same for us.
Thank you for sharing that. I just want to give you a massive hug through the screen at the moment. But I hope, and I'm not here to fix or make better, but
I can't hear you.
You can't hear me? Can other people hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Sorry. I think something's wrong with my connection.
Okay. I hope that the pain, we know that you never get over losing a baby. You learn to create a life around carrying and caring for that grief. And I hope that there is a way that significant date, that 25th, it feels easier to carry and feels special rather than always traumatic for you. And we'll be thinking of you and to join us when you've got your birthday upcoming this month as well. You know, thank you so much for taking on as much as you have emotionally to speak within this event. Shalu, for you, I know this month is really important for you, well, with Kaya's birthday coming up. Were there dates that for you within that, or times of year that you always find a little bit harder to navigate, or perhaps a little lighter?
I think October, generally the full month. I just like, am I up? Am I down? Am I happy? Am I sad? Mother's Day, Father's Day, like all of there are like these things where it's waves, isn't it? And then sometimes you're laughing, and then you find yourself laughing, and you're like, oh, why am I laughing? But like sometimes it's just your coping mechanism as well, because if you don't laugh, then you just cry too much. So, yeah, I find Mother's Day very tough. And I think for me, when I was pregnant, there was 4 of us pregnant at the same time, and obviously they've all gone on to have their children. So it's when we do have big meetups with our friends, and there's like 2 kids together, same age, literally the same age difference, of what my son and Kaya would have been. It doesn't always trigger me, but they are triggering moments. But again, that's just navigating your life through loss, your life through the loss that you've suffered. For her birthday, though, we always, always, always do something together with our friends. So last year there was about 20 of us that went up to the beach in O'Malquain, Kite Beach. We rented the huts and for the full day, and we were like, come, if you want to come, if you come for a few hours, for however long you want. And we do have a great support system of friends out here who have been like amazing to us. So yeah, and then this year again, we're gonna do a barbecue in the desert with a big group of our friends. And for me, it's about I like to celebrate her. I don't tell people, oh, we're doing it for her birthday. That's more for me and my husband, that we're doing something to remember her, because she's not here to celebrate herself. But yeah, I feel like it's more for me personally. I like through all of the sadness, just to have some happy moments and moments for us, and just to enjoy with friends, because we're very social people. So yeah, we always try and do something on her birthday, which is important. And like I was just thinking when Farida said she's got the dress that she's kept the dress that she wore the last day. The dress that I wore for Kaya's funeral will forever be in my wardrobe, even if it goes out of fashion. If I ever feel like, oh, I just want to be close to her, I'll put it on. So it's memories like that. I got a tattoo from this. We wrapped her in the swaddle, I said, and it had a butterfly on. So I went to a tattoo artist. I said, I want this butterfly as a tattoo. So I have it. That it's just a memory. I rub it if I want to, and I think it's just trying to make things a little easier, I suppose. And I think that's what all these memories do. It's never going to take the pain away fully, but it just makes you navigate through things that little bit easier.
Thank you so much to both of you for sharing your babies, your Zion, your Kaya, with us today within this session, and the ways that you have created memories, both those that have been guided and that those you've had to create yourself. They are truly special. And I hope that Kaya's birthday for you is very special up in the desert. And I hope that your trip and taking Zion's blanket and bits with you, Fariha, I hope that becomes a way that you can continue to navigate creating those memories while holding your babies very, very, very preciously in your heart. Dr. Attilio, I will come to you just at the end of this session, just to give your last thoughts on this and where and how anyone can reach out if they need to you.
Yeah. So if you'd like to join the Little Lifetime Support Group, you just have to call the clinic and have a free grief consultation, whereupon you can join the Little Lifetime Support Group. Thereafter, it's usually once a month. And I just want to say one last thing about what Faria and Shalu have shared around important dates. It's so important for those that are supporting parents that are going through baby loss, to just be so mindful of those dates, and including things like Christmas and Eid and Ramadan, all the special, Diwali might be coming up, just really being so mindful about dates and asking parents how they'd like them to interact around those dates. Just ask, just be aware, just acknowledge. And that is just really, really important. It means a lot to the parent when you've remembered.
Thank you so much for that. I think you've spoken so beautifully to the fact that there are universal similarities in how we wish to remember babies and how cherished they are, and also individual process. You talked about the fact that, Shelley, you know, you needed time initially before wanting to see and spend time with Kaya, and then got that time. You know, there is such uniqueness to navigating that memory making process into those experiences. And there are so many shared things that today, I think the things that you've talked about, I hope drive better conversation, better awareness, and better support by the professionals around us, but also just for other parents who are listening in, who are perhaps even yet to go through this experience for themselves. So thank you so much for everything that you've shared today. I hope you can go and take a little time now to care for your heart before reintegrating into the next part of your day. Thank you, everyone, for joining.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for
Thanks.
having us.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye, everybody.